国产高端机全军覆没。
Domestic high-end phones have all fallen, and only low-end phones are still holding on. The sales ranking for phones has been released, and the top 3 spots are all taken by Apple, completely dominating the chart. The first place is iPhone 17, second is 17 Pro Max, and third is 17 Pro. After that is just some low-end domestic Android phones. There aren't any high-end ones. This clearly shows that Apple can just make slight upgrades, and its market share is still terrifyingly strong. Honestly, domestic phones just can't compete. There's no way to challenge Apple. China celebrates its largest shopping festival, known as Double 11, every November 11th. For businesses, however, the event extends far beyond that single day. It begins as early as October. Many Chinese smartphone brands even launch their campaigns in September, seeking to compete with Apple, but how effective have these efforts been? A vlogger said, the results of Double 11 are out, and the iPhone 17 series took first, second, and third place. Apple claimed the top 3 spots on the overall sales charts, and even the iPhone 15, released 2 years ago, made it into the top 10. Looking back now, it's clear that all those domestic brands that once shouted about surpassing Apple and surrounding Apple, well, that plan has completely failed. According to data from research firm Counterpoint, the iPhone 17 series saw a 14% increase in sales in China during the first 10 days before its release on September 19th, compared to last year's iPhone 16. The standard model, in particular, led sales by a wide margin, almost double that of the previous generation. Even more impressive, in the first 2 weeks of October, Apple took the top spot with a 21% market share. On the Double 11 live sales chart, the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max ranked 10th, making it the only Xiaomi model on the list. However, people noticed that even Xiaomi's own stores were using Apple products for live streaming.
When
Xiaomi was promoting the Xiaomi 17, didn't they say it would completely surpass the iPhone 17? I was kind of puzzled. Yesterday, I went to get my car serviced, and right next door was a Xiaomi 4S store. Since their cars are so popular, I decided to check it out. I saw 2 employees live streaming, showing off the Xiaomi YU7 car. And here's what I noticed. While they were live streaming, they were actually using iPhones. So I couldn't help but ask them, didn't you guys say your phone has already completely surpassed Apple's? Why are you using an Apple phone to stream instead of your own? One of the employees told me, well, for live streaming, Apple's phone is still better. So I asked, did you forget about live streaming when you made that claim? Is live streaming the one thing you didn't manage to surpass? As of November 2nd, the iPhone 17 series has surpassed 8.25 million activations in the Chinese market. With its current sales momentum, analysts expect it to reach 10 million units by November 16th. This marks a strong start for the new model after its release. Some internet users have highlighted that Chinese domestic manufacturers often face accusations of plagiarism. Apple released the iPhone 17 as a successor of the iPhone 16, yet Xiaomi named its model the 17 simply to match Apple. While Apple emphasizes research and development, Xiaomi appears focused on making its products resemble Apple's. A vlogger who disassembled the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max in a video pointed out that Xiaomi's issue extends beyond plagiarism to include poor quality control.
花大价钱买个安卓，就为了亲手刻个苹果标。
Spending a fortune on an Android just to slap an Apple logo on it? The math doesn't add up. They promise flagship quality, but one cut and it's all plastic. That's definitely not getting it right the first time. Both the inside and outside are copying, but the price is pushed to the limit. Do you think this money is well spent? Let's talk about the unboxing. Forget everything else, but this box looks like an envelope. It comes with a 100-watt fast charger, which is definitely better than Apple's next door. Now for the highlight. The secondary screen on the back lets you have an electronic pet. Interesting, right? The main feature, though, is using the rear camera for selfies. The clarity is top-notch. They bragged about their self-developed Dragon Crystal Glass, so I tested it. It's got a 6-level hardness with no scratches, and only at level 7 do scratches appear. It's definitely stronger than regular Androids, but sadly, they didn't use the same good glass on the fun secondary screen. One scratch, and it's ruined. Structural strength is key. The plastic back cover left me feeling unsure, but it actually held up. Looks like they've really mastered Apple's frame design. The teardown is simple, just hit it with a heat gun, and the plastic back cover comes right off. Here comes the awkward part. Before I even started, one screw just fell out on its own. I say the quality control still needs work. It's still a bit behind the top brands. Wireless charging supports 50 watts, faster than Apple's limited charging. Pretty impressive. The battery's got that easy peel adhesive, so I'll give it a thumbs up, but the glue was way too sticky. It almost flipped over on me. Comparing it, the silicon carbon anode technology makes the battery smaller with more capacity. The speakers are filled with tiny plastic balls to enhance the bass through cavity resonance. The main camera and telephoto lens both have optical image stabilization, but the sensor size is noticeably smaller than Apple's. After all that tinkering, I put it all back together and powered it on. My electronic bird is alive again. Overall, it's got good materials, some innovation, but the quality control details still need some polishing. Xiaomi smartphones have encountered several serious problems. Recently, in Suzhou, Jiangsu province, a 3-year-old boy suffered burns when the Xiaomi phone he was using to watch videos suddenly exploded and caught fire. The device had not been repaired or modified since it was purchased. Xiaomi's electric vehicles have run into even greater difficulties, with multiple incidents of fires leading to fatalities. Despite these challenges, Xiaomi and its founder maintain a controversial reputation in China but remain a dominant force in the market. China expert Yue Shan has observed that the Chinese Communist Party has intensified nationalist efforts in recent years to shift focus from internal and external challenges. For little pinks, buying domestic phones has turned into a mark of patriotism, yet the party embeds surveillance software in these devices to track citizens and infringe on human rights. Chinese President Xi Jinping recently visited South Korea and personally endorsed Xiaomi during his trip. Ahead of the meeting on November 1st with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, the two leaders exchanged gifts, with Xi presenting a pair of Xiaomi smartphones. Lee then jokingly asked if the phone's communication lines were secure, drawing laughter from those present. Xi responded with an awkward smile, saying, "Let's see if there are any backdoors." Xiaomi phones often face suspicions abroad of containing backdoor programs that could steal personal information and track usage. In August this year, tech giants Apple and Samsung jointly accused Xiaomi of sneaky marketing that damaged the brand image. Some overseas internet users commented, "Xiaomi has become so unpleasant in China recently, yet Xi gifts Xiaomi phones in such a setting. No wonder people say Lei Jun's backing is deep." Others question, why not give Huawei phones instead? Huawei has long been the top symbol of nationalism for the Chinese Communist Party, but an increasing number of Chinese citizens have seen through Huawei's tactics of copying Apple.
华为是一定不按套路出牌。
Huawei is really breaking the rules. The Mate 70 Air didn't even have a launch event. They just went straight to pre-sales. A mainland vlogger criticized the Huawei Mate 70 Air, which went on sale November 6, directly copying Apple's new product, the iPhone Air.
华为出了一个 Mate 70 Air，
Huawei released the Mate 70 Air. I'll say this up front. Its sales won't be that great. If it manages to match the iPhone 17 Air's sales, that would be considered impressive. Why do I say that? The Mate Air focuses on being lightweight, but its screen is a huge 7 inches, and it weighs 206 grams. Just those two specs already surpass the Mate 70 standard version. In the end, it feels like a poor imitation. Why bother? A vlogger mocked, saying that Chinese domestic products are fond of copying, even the names.
首先咱们不得不说，你看苹果出 Air，
First, we have to admit, look at how Apple launched the Air series. These ultra-thin machines. It's a completely new line, right? Then our domestic brands also started making ultra-thin models, but they couldn't come up with a different name. They had to call it Air, right? It's like whatever they call it, we have to jump on the bandwagon. To achieve this extreme thinness, they're willing to compromise on everything. As long as it's smooth and thin, they're good with it. But the Huawei Mate 70 Air, honestly, it's not really that thin. Its body is over 6 millimeters thick, and it still hasn't removed the SIM card slot. Plus, with that camera and a weight of over 200 grams, it's neither light nor thin. A vlogger criticized the Huawei Mate 70 Air for its large size, saying it's not user-friendly.
Mate 70 Air 到手了。
I got my hands on the Mate 70 Air, and I was surprised to find out it has a plastic frame, not a metal one. Also, it doesn't have the telephoto lens on the front. It's got an upright telephoto lens, so the camera performance isn't as good as a Mate 70 Pro, and it's just too big. I can't even hold it with one hand.
华为的设计师，你到底用不用华为手机？
Huawei's designers, do you even use Huawei phones? Today, they launched the Mate 70 Air, and it's impressive. 6mm thin, 6500 mAh battery, all the specs are strong. They really gave it everything. But what did I notice? A 7-inch screen, and it's even wider. Oh my gosh, I honestly can't imagine what the average consumer will feel like after holding that phone for half an hour. Their hands are going to be so sore on both sides, it's going to hurt like crazy. And if you're saying this phone is for big executives who barely use it, fine. But at a price of 4,199 yuan, it's clearly meant for regular consumers. I can't imagine if your hands aren't big enough to hold it. Using it will absolutely kill your hands. I wouldn't recommend buying it unless you have large hands. When other brands widen the screen, they usually make the size smaller, which works. But here, they made the size bigger and the screen wider. Are you using this phone as an iPad? Other Huawei phone products have also been continuously criticized by internet users. Guys, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, but what's this? It's a triple fold phone, super popular a year or two ago, and it's probably still hot now. There's a saying, 3 years of ups and downs, 3 years of loyalty. Whoever can, uses a foldable screen. Since I got this foldable phone, I have to seriously complain. It's really not that great. The response speed is extremely slow, which is a common issue with Huawei, but whatever. The most important thing is, this was around April 2025 when I bought it, and now it's November. In just 6 months, I haven't dropped it or pressed it. And while I can accept a slight lag in response, a month ago, the screen started leaking liquid. I asked about it, and they said I need a screen replacement. This phone cost me 21,000 yuan, and replacing the screen will cost several thousand more if I didn't get the screen protection insurance. And now there are bubbles. See this? Every phone should have a screen protector, but this one came with a factory installed one. Yesterday, out of nowhere, it started bubbling up. The worst part is, it's completely unresponsive now, so I'll have to get it fixed. I checked, and replacing the screen is around 8,000 yuan. The vlogger said that when they bought it, they were in a great mood. They could use it as a lid when eating instant noodles and show it off when answering calls. But they never expected the screen to be so easily damaged, which was truly disappointing. The Huawei Triple Fold phone is actually pretty fragile. First, its hinge is very delicate, so it's prone to damage and making strange sounds. The screen is soft, and it's really easy to scratch, get uneven, and affect the user experience, especially the fold here, which can easily bulge and leak liquid. My second Triple Fold phone had this exact problem. Also, this phone is really sensitive to water. My other phones, I could just put under the faucet and wash them off, but this one, I wouldn't dare. This Huawei, I've only had it for less than 6 months, and it's already not working properly. I haven't dropped it or bumped it though. Many little pings switch to iPhones after facing issues with Huawei phones. Do friends who use Huawei phones experience lag, or is it still smooth all the time? Look, everyone switched to Apple now. I feel like buying this Huawei phone is really frustrating. I used to have the P70, and just recently, I got the P80. When I got the P80, the original system was 5.0, but there's a problem. It's extremely laggy. When I opened the camera, it was so slow, it wouldn't respond. I took it to the after-sales service to have it checked, and the staff immediately opened the camera or tried using TikTok to record a video. It was so laggy, it wouldn't move at all. A vendor sold a Huawei foldable phone that broke within 5 hours. A customer bought the Huawei Mate X5 foldable phone, and after just 5 hours, the screen was broken. What do you do in that situation? He bought it yesterday at 5 p.m., took it home, and by 10 p.m., he called me saying the screen was broken. He said the screen was fine when I gave it to him, but he hadn't even used it much, just transferred data and left it there. He went out to eat, came back, and when he opened the phone, the screen was already broken. So, what should I do now? The phone was brand new, never repaired, and it was absolutely fine when I gave it to him. But now it's broken, and he says he didn't do anything. I took a closer look and noticed the screen was damaged right in the middle. But when I gave it to him, it was definitely fine, and he admitted it was fine at the time. Now it's broken, so what are we supposed to do about this? A vlogger has noted that Huawei possesses a surveillance capability that Apple cannot match. 9 years ago, Huawei developed its surveillance module and patented it. As for whether Android can prevail in this domain, that remains uncertain, but Huawei is certain to lead the way. Huawei, Xiaomi, and other Chinese brands leverage nationalism to align with the Chinese Communist Party's political imperatives for retaining power. Consequently, when incidents occur or inquiries emerge, the government assists these firms in quelling user complaints, and repressing advocates for rights. More and more Chinese citizens are beginning to recognize this dynamic. A vlogger remarked that discussions of Huawei's flaws are prohibited, akin to the prohibitions within a cult.
感谢你们让我知道这个世界上还有一真的
Thank you for making me realize that there really are cults in this world, and that China really has them. I'm honestly stunned. There's a problem, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. I was on the 5.0 system, and it upgraded to 5.1 automatically and started having issues. Why can't I talk about it? What system can't I mention? What phone can't I talk about? Honestly, there are brands in China you're not allowed to mention. Thanks.
什么是宗教品牌？
What's a religious brand? It's a brand where, as soon as you mention its name, my account gets banned. As soon as I say the name of this brand, my video gets reported and taken down. That's a religious brand. So, who exactly is a religious brand? Let's take phones for example. Buying a phone should be a simple thing. We just buy whichever brand we like, right? But those religious brand supporters love to morally manipulate people. They tie buying a phone to patriotism, saying that if you don't buy a certain brand, you're not being patriotic. Even if another brand offers better performance, better cameras, or better battery life, if you don't choose their idol brand, then you're wrong in their eyes. And when something goes wrong with a religious brand's phone, it's never the brand's fault, it's always your fault. They'll say you don't understand the product or don't know how to use it. Another vlogger also said that Huawei is like a religious product.
华为它就是电子垃圾，它就是宗教产品。
Huawei is just electronic trash. It's a religious product. It's way ahead of the competition. These two sentences are really talking about one brand, Huawei. Commentator Du Zeng has observed that when people describe Huawei as resembling a religion or cult, they are subtly alluding to the Chinese Communist Party itself, which many regard as the world's largest cult. The party displays all the hallmarks of a religion, yet it imposes atheism, rendering it fundamentally inverted. An increasing number of Chinese citizens are coming to this realization, as the CCP, acting through brands like Huawei and Xiaomi, extends its reach abroad while amassing wealth at home and stifling all dissent, a pattern that carries unmistakable cult-like traits. This vlogger has sharply criticized Huawei's after-sales service, describing it as foolish.
今天在这里我一定要批评一下华为的售后。
Today, I have to criticize Huawei's after-sales service because, honestly, it's really frustrating. I bought a new foldable phone, and after only about 20 days of use, a black line appeared in the middle of the screen. I double-checked, and I'm sure I haven't dropped it. The after-sales staff confirmed it as well when they took the phone in, saying there was no sign of drops or impacts. Given this, as a consumer, it's completely normal for me to expect a warranty, but you insisted it was caused by me, and after dragging it out for 20 days, only when I posted a video on TikTok and started fighting for my rights did you finally offer free repairs. Why make it so difficult? The Chinese Communist Party has banned the well-known internet personality Hu Chenfeng for questioning domestic brands online. Most Chinese domestic smartphone brands rely on Android-based systems. Hu Chenfeng previously categorized consumers into two groups based on their phone brands: Apple users representing high-end quality, and Android users signifying lower-end and inferior products. He went further, advising young people to view the presence of Apple retail stores as a key factor when selecting a city to live in. Following Apple's launch event on September 19th, Hu Chengfeng declared that domestic Android brands were doomed and forecasted that the upcoming iPhone 17 would seize control of the high-end market. Hu Chengfeng had earlier produced videos that exposed China's widening health gap, resulting in several account suspensions. By late September, authorities had closed all his social media profiles. Commentator Xiu Ke argues that Hu Chengfeng's suppression serves a dual purpose. First, it addresses his exposure of wealth disparities, a topic the Chinese Communist Party prefers to avoid. And second, it punishes him for breaching political boundaries by challenging the party's support for domestic brands. In truth, he was merely voicing realities.